What is up, everybody? Packer fans, back again. Today, so I got confused. I don't know if I missed a walkthrough or if I just didn't upload a video or if I just slept through a whole day and have no idea that that day even existed because I'm like a day behind on my training camps. I think I just didn't do a day where we had a walkthrough, so then all my numbers got mixed up. So we're at day 11 today, at training camp for the Green Bay Packers. Another exciting, probably my favorite day so far for training camp. Um, Not only because of the weather, it was a little rainy and a little overcast today, but because of the fact that, we've had about 10 practices now. We've had family night. They put the pads on. They've done 11 on 11. There's a lot of one-on-one stuff. There's videos out of guys performing. So now the expectations start to go up a little bit. We start expecting things from guys. We start to, want to see more out of some of these players. And for guys like Romeo Doubs, where he's kind of been the sensation so far in camp, we expect to see more and more from him, and sometimes it doesn't always translate. So that's what makes it exciting. Today was cool because not only did we get to see a few guys back from injury rehabbing, LaFleur had the guys doing a lot of one-on-one stuff, like the skilled players on the outside against the defense. All right, one guy on the defense, which those were fun. There was a lot of different battles, a lot of really good battles, and a lot that were, kind of mismatches. But they just want to see what guys can do. You don't know what they can do until you see them do it. And then after that, they had a few team drills, 11 on 11, which I thought was super exciting. It seemed like Jair Alexander, the second he walked into on the field this morning, he made sure everybody knew that he was here to play today, that it was not going to be an easy day for people that had to go up against him, and that he was here to show everybody why he's the highest paid corner in the league and why this Packers secondary is one to be reckoned with. It's going to be a no-fly zone. I almost can guarantee it. Everything I've been hearing about this secondary is that they've been just creating all these coverage sacks. I know that our offensive line is still piecing together, but the secondary working with this defensive line is going to be huge. The secondary is going to be able to cover a little bit longer, giving the defensive line time to get to the quarterback. The defensive line is going to be good enough to get to the quarterback quick enough that the secondary won't have to cover as long. So working in perfect harmony, it's going to be a thing of beauty, and I'm super excited. But yeah, that's just why today was really an exciting day to kind of see how players kind of progressed, and we're getting there. So Friday is the first preseason game at 49ers. So today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, LaFleur is doing a full-on practice. Thursday will be the walkthrough, and then Friday they will be in San Francisco. So today it was exciting to see, especially on a slippery, wet field. It was exciting to see all the guys who are coming back from ACL injuries out on the field rehabbing. That's Robert Tonyan, the tight end, Elkin Jenkins, the left guard, right tackle, left whatever position, the offensive line guy, who's awesome. And he said he's going to be ready to play as soon as he's cleared. He's a guy that can come in and just play right away. There's so many questions with this offensive line. That's kind of our weakest spot right now. The fact that the receivers have kind of accelerated their development has allowed us to kind of be just rest assured that our wide receiver group is going to be decent enough. They're going to be suitable. The offensive line is the biggest issue. They've been having a lot of struggles just with communication and blocking up front and just assignments and just missing reads and things like that. So getting Bakhtiari back and getting Jenkins back would be huge, but I think Jenkins would be back first out of the two, but I do think Bakhtiari will be back by at least week 6. That's, I think, the last time they can bring him back from the PUP list. Otherwise, he's gone for the year. So, so Jenkins was out there rehabbing. Like I said, Tanya was rehabbing. Jenkins. Kylan Hill was out there looking good. He's a running back, so he's really got to have those knees ready to be able to cut and juke and spin move and just be really elusive on his knees. So awesome to see him. Obviously, like I said, Bakhtiari was out there as well. Out there, the big giraffe, out on the field, doing what he does. Super awesome to see him. Every time he's out there, I love to see it. It's great. And then, yeah, Christian Watson was doing some footwork drills where he was really chopping those feet, and that was awesome to see. I just like to see that he's putting a lot of strain on whatever part of the leg that was ailing him. So it looks like he's getting up to speed, and he should be ready to go sooner than later. I'm excited. Hopefully he gets back by August 25th for that last preseason game against Kansas City. So we will see how that works out. But having those guys back is just awesome to see. It's awesome for the players to have those guys back out on the field. Gives them a little more juice. It's awesome for the fans to see those guys because we want them out there. Awesome for the coaches, and it's awesome for the players themselves because they've been working so hard. A lot of that stuff behind the scenes, we don't see what they go through to get back, all the rehabbing, all the lonely nights, all the, working with different trainers and everything to try to get back, not being with their teammates, not being with your guys. It's a real struggle for a lot of these guys. So to see them finally getting back out on the field, it's huge for everybody. It brings everybody a lot of excitement, and they're key pieces to this Packers team. So super awesome to see them out there. Today, Savage kind of sat out just because of that hamstring. They're trying to just be cautious about it. Ty Summers was out with an illness. He's not hurt. He's sick. I don't think it's COVID, but he was out today. And then Mercedes Lewis, the big dog tight end, he sat out today as well for veteran rest. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. Cobb was in for a little while this morning, and then he came out early as well for veteran rest, but nothing to be worried about. He's just getting a little more relaxation. So yeah, like I said, LaFleur started off with one-on-one drills, and these are awesome because, the quarterbacks change up who's throwing it, but there's a lot of different route tree options they run, and it's one-on-one versus a defender. It could be a corner, it could be a safety. They even had Romeo Doubs against Tyreek Carpenter, which is complete mismatch because Carpenter's kind of a hybrid linebacker safety, but he was down trying to cover Doubs, who's probably our most skilled rookie right now receiver. So that was a huge mismatch. Doubs smoked him, but the rest of these battles throughout the day were pretty awesome. Rodgers was on point. Love played through some good balls, and then Elling was doing all right. But these guys are all going one-on-one versus a defender, and there's a lot of them are deep routes or just trying to get separation a little bit. The quarterback will hit them, but the offense has the advantage because they know what route they're going to run. Obviously, if you can just get a step, you're going to make a little separation, and there's no safety to help you. There's no linebackers in the middle that can cover some zone. It's one-on-one, so you really have to be on your read. You really got to watch your man. You really got to, check your keys, watch his feet, see kind of what he's going to do. And all day, the offense kind of had the number, or the receiver had the number of the defender. Tyler Davis made some nice catches. Amari Rodgers was making some nice catches. Dominic Daffy had a nice day. Even Ishmael Hyman won his battle. Lazar won his battles. He beat Vaughn. Winfrey beat Kavion Ento. The list goes on and on of all the one-on-ones where the offense was just beat the defense. There was a really awesome battle where Samari Tor went up against Rico Gafford. Gafford's got all this speed in the world. Tor's fast as well. And there was a great battle all the way down the field. Tor looked really good. He didn't come up with the catch. It came out after they hit the ground together, but was just a real awesome play from both guys. And Tor made a lot of plays other than that. And he's a guy, a 7th-round pick, 6'1", with speed. That's about Devontae's size too. He's not little. When we drafted him, I thought, oh, this little guy. I didn't know much about him, and I kind of thought he was 5'9", 5'10", another Amari Rodgers type. And it turns out he's 6'1". He's got speed. He's been making really nice catches, and he's a guy that to watch for sure because thought the Packers might keep 7 receivers, but if Torre comes on and Watson comes on, they might not need to keep Watkins. It's interesting because Watkins has been doing all okay, but he hasn't really stepped up as like, okay, obviously he's going to be number 1 or number 2 receiver next to Lazard. It's not that obvious. He's just kind of another guy, and if he's just another guy and these young guys are showing they can do it, there's no point in really keeping Watkins. But I do like Watkins. I've always liked Watkins. I'm not down on him really at all. I just think, long-term Packer decisions, what they usually do, what they're kind of looking for. And they brought him in kind of as like a fail-safe just in case the rookies didn't pan out. But since they're working out so good and Watkins hasn't really made that separation, it's something to watch for sure, especially with a 7th-round pick like Torre doing as good as he has. He's just he was really productive at family night. All through camp, he's been making plays, and it's really nice to watch, But besides that, the offense all day, pretty much dominating, doing their thing. Like I said, even the rookies, Dobbs and Torre, were doing great in the one-on-ones, except when they went up against Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander, like I said, came into the day saying, I'm going to shut down everything on this field, and that's what he did. He shut down Lazard and Dobbs in these one-on-ones. Dobbs did beat Jair on a deep route, but Jair, stayed with it, and Dobbs ended up dropping it. It was more of a Dobbs drop than anything, which has been an issue of late. Something to watch as we progress. We all know that Devontae Adams had huge drop issues early on in his career. MVS had some drop issues with the Packers in his career, and I just hope that whatever's ailing Dobbs to keep have these issues, hopefully he can get those cleaned up and fixed. I think it's just a lot of just small mistakes that I think he'll get worked out before the season starts. I really like Dobbs. All I hear is good things, and I'm not going to let a few drops really sway how I feel about what I think he's capable of doing. Very exciting. Another play, Jair did that against Lazard and Dobbs. And since, the offense won all day, but when Jair went up against Watkins, like I just said, Watkins hasn't done a whole lot. This is a play where he could have got some separation and showed something. Jair basically ran the route for Watkins, became the receiver for, it was like Watkins wasn't even there, and he didn't intercept it, he dropped it, but he basically was the receiver on the play without, and Watkins can't have stuff like that happen, especially when, like I said, when these rookies are playing so good. It just can't be a guy that we have question marks about. He's supposed to come in and be just that solid vet that Rodgers can rely on, and it's just kind of been hit or miss. So, like I said, something to watch for sure. And so one-on-one battles I found, Tyler Davis, I'm watching, tight end. He had some nice catches on these one-on-ones. He beat Vernon Scott on a play. He had some other nice ones earlier on in the day. Amari Rodgers is the one who we need to keep an eye on. So much I've heard about him, stepping up this year, having a big season, all this stuff. But he is starting to make some plays. I heard his name a few times today. I'll talk about him again later. But he had a nice catch against Sean John Charles. Charles is a little bit undersized, but so is Amari Rodgers, and he ran a good route and made a nice catch. Again, during these one-on-ones, Samori Toure went up against Rico Gafford a different time, and he beat him that time. He ran a real nice route and made the catch. A lot of these are deep routes on these one-on-ones, so if you do a little shake or make it look like you're going to do a short route and then go deep, it's so hard for a guy to stay with you on those because he's trying to cover the whole route tree. And if you just take it deep, there's no safety back there, there's no help. Makes it kind of easy to get a little bit of separation. And these guys just need a foot or two, and Rodgers or Love can put it on them pretty easy. So not a whole lot you can get out of that. It's just kind of seeing if the defense can make a play, I think, is kind of the whole point of this, the practice. Just like what they do is just trying to see if the guy can read something that a tell from the offensive player to get a stop. Like I said, all day the offense had won the battle, and it's not really fair. So pretty cool though. There was a play where it was against air, but Rodgers threw like a 60-yard bomb to Danny Davis, and it was in the wind and the rain, and Davis had to do like a bunch of acrobatics in the air, and he made the catch. He came down with the catch and warranted a fist bump from 12. So from Rodgers, and you like that. You like that he's supporting these guys. Obviously, Davis probably won't make the roster, but he could be a practice squad guy, and for Rodgers to just kind of take the time to show him that he he appreciated the play and he's got his back and all that. That's just huge, and maybe Rodgers in the past would not have taken the time to do that with the guy who's not going to make the team most likely. So just like I talked about in the other video, just a little progression from Rodgers. He's becoming a little bit different than we're used to. So I don't hate it. I'll say that for sure. I don't hate it. So then the Packers, after the one-on-ones, they went into 11-on-11, full team drills, offense versus defense. This is where it gets kind of exciting. The offense all day had kind of dominated the defense when it came to the one-on-ones. These team drills are a little bit different. Starting offensive line today, we had Yash Nijman on the outside at left tackle, John Runyon Jr. at left guard, Josh Myers at center, Jake Hansen, not going to mess it up anymore. Jake Hansen, I promise you guys. Jake Hansen at right guard. He's a guy that, I just don't like this right side. I think it's tough. I think Yash and Myers are suitable. I think Runyon Jr., Jake Hansen, and Royce Newman are kind of the pieces that we have question marks at. Obviously, if we had Bakhtiari and Jenkins back, that would clear up 2 of those spots, and the plug and play after that kind of fits whoever. I don't like Royce Newman at right tackle. Obviously, the Packers have seen enough from him at that spot to keep putting him out there. I'd have to see more. It's just going off of what I saw last year and the struggles that they have this year. I just am not sold on this line yet. And, today was kind of reinforced my concerns. The defensive line was Lowry at left D end or right D end. Clark was at the nose, and Reed and Lowry kind of were on the outside of him. Jaron Reed and Kenny Clark just dominant today. Jaron Reed probably had his best day of camp, and he's a guy who I really liked coming out of Alabama. The Alabama has such a historic team and great defense, and they've national championships. I'm sure Reed has one of those national championships. I'd have to look at what year he won the title in, but if you're an Alabama player, likely you won a championship at some point in your career, if not 2. And so he's a guy that came out that I really liked. And 2 years ago with Seattle, he had 6.5 sacks. That's a lot for a guy who plays defensive tackle or down on the line. Those outside linebackers are usually the ones that get the sacks, not so much the guy in the middle. And for a guy like Reed to do that, that's, last year with the Chiefs, he didn't have as much production, but he's also was behind Chris Jones. And, I know he'll be with Kenny Clark, but Clark, I think, will help him. And Reed will be the starter, and he'll be, rotating out with Wyatt and Lowry. I think keeping these guys fresh is going to be huge. And he's been so explosive on running plays, getting inside on pass plays. He blew up like 2 or 3 running plays, just stopped him cold in the middle. And it's just like, wow, this defensive line is so quick with Wyatt, Clark, and Reed. They set the tone early all day today in these team drills. This defense just took over. It was so different. We had Vernon Scott out at safety for Darnell Savage. He's a guy to watch because last year he was on the team, but I thought Sean Davis kind of had the inside track at that safety 3 spot. The Packers brought in some other guys that can play safety as well. The Dallin Levitt guy, he had an okay day, but he's kind of undersized, and I think they're going to go with Scott. He's kind of the one that's got the inside track right now, and we'll see how he kind of sets the tone, and if the Packers need to look at other options, I think they will. But for now, he's the safety until Savage comes back. it's positions that we have concerns about are going to continue throughout camp until these guys start getting healthy and start coming back. And then through preseason games, we won't see any of the starters anyway. So it's a good time just to really get these backups some valuable experience and see what they can do. I mean, that's all it's about, really. So otherwise, in these team drills, Amos looked great all day. Adrian Amos is just such a solid safety. He's always in the right spot, kind of always does the right thing. He can tackle real well, get down in the box, and he can play deep coverage. He can get up on a linebacker, up on a tight end and cover him or cover wide receivers. Get down on running backs out of the backfield. He's just a really, really versatile player, and I just liked what I see today from him in practice, and I've liked what I've seen from him overall in camp. It's just it's been a real solid camp for him, and especially as a veteran leader on this team, a guy that's was a free agent from the Bears that came over to the Packers, but now has been on the Packers for long enough that he's kind of a fixture on that back end, and a guy that I like to just see keep developing into that really solid player for the Packers. Other guys, Kisian Nixon was back today on the special teams. So special teams was a little bit interesting. I saw some of that. Ishmael Hyman, he's a guy from the USFL, a little undersized, 5'10", who really only has a shot at making the team on special teams, returning punts. And today he fumbled or muffed 2 different punt returns. Not a good look for a guy who really only has a chance of making the team on special teams. Steve Wardle, the long snapper from last year. I thought we released him. That's my fault. I thought we had let him go, but we did not. I know we have Jack Coco, but Steve Wardle is still snapping, and he snapped a low one, and then he kind of got shaken up on the play, so we'll see what comes of that. Not really ideal. Good punch from Pat O'Donnell today. Real good punch. Not a lot of other updates when it comes to special teams. I know that Rich Bisaccia is all over these guys, and he's going to have this special teams unit better than last year at least. I'll say that. That's it. So then on defense, what I'm watching a lot is that third outside linebacker spot behind Preston Smith, the reliable vet, and Rashawn Gary, the young up-and-coming Unleash Bane. My favorite. So I know Gary might have 15 sacks this year. Preston's probably good for about 8. But who is going to be that number 3 outside linebacker that rotates in when Gary needs a spell and when Preston needs a spell, or if one of those guys, knock on wood, goes down? And so far, nobody's really stepped up. Jonathan Garvin, Randy Ramsey kind of had the inside track from last year, but they haven't done much. We drafted J.J. Enagbar out of South Carolina. He has not done much either. And guys like Tipa Galeai, I keep forgetting or not knowing what it actually is. And then Darius Hamilton have been stepping up a lot. Tipa I didn't hear much about today, but Darius Hamilton probably had his best day of camp. He came out with 2 sacks, tackle for a loss, and he forced an interception. This guy has been all over the field. He's been doing it consistently here at camp, and he's a guy that I think is in line for that number 3 outside linebacker spot. Pretty huge for a guy that is coming in, not really like thought to be a lock to make the roster. And now, like I said, every year there's guys that we don't expect that make it. So he's a guy that's probably bumped himself onto my 53-man. I'm going to do another one of those probably soon. I'll probably wait till after a preseason game or so, maybe the second one. I do want to do one more before the last preseason game, and then before they do cut down, try to get at least a little bit of a guest in there before. Won't be much of a guest, it'll be a really thought out plan, but still, I'm excited to see how this roster kind of develops over the next 3 weeks, and we have less than 5 weeks until kickoff, so I cannot wait. So then the last part of practice today was pretty cool. they did a team drill, 2-minute drill, where it was a scenario where each quarterback, Love and Rodgers, got to run 2 different offenses with 2 different scenarios where they're down points in the fourth quarter with limited timeouts and limited time on the clock, and they could be at their own 35-yard line, which means they have to go 65 yards and try to get in position for a game-winning touchdown. And both quarterbacks, all 4, okay, so they had 2 each, 2 tries each, so 4 total. All of them, or both of them, could not score touchdowns. The defense won every time. Amari Rodgers had 2 nice catches on some of those 2-minute drives for 30 yards or something. It's something, but they still weren't able to get in the end zone. Even with Rodgers, the offensive line struggled a little bit up front. The defense is just everywhere. This defense is going to be so tough, so hard to deal with, so hard to figure out. A second year in John Barry's defense, so it's going to be a whole different situation next year when the Packers are running the ball, playing really good defense, and not having to rely so much on Rodgers throwing it. Obviously, we pay him too much not to throw it, so the threat of the throw will always be there. But I think it's going to be some lower scoring games with this defense really keeping teams from scoring more than 20. I don't see a lot of the Packers opponents scoring more than 20 this whole season. This defense is just really good. So, I just talked about me doing the projected 53-man roster prediction. I'm going to do that soon. But the Packers came out with an unofficial, it came out by the Packers, but it's unofficial depth chart for the 2022 NFL season. Came out August 8th, which is today. Pretty awesome because it's got the notable guys. We figure Lazard, Watkins, Cobb, Amari Rodgers. It's but Samari Torres on there, Ishmael Hyman's on there, Malik Taylor's on there, Juwan Winfrey, Romeo Doubs. What I want to see is like the safeties and corners. They got Kabion Ento ahead of Shamar John Charles. There's guys like Enos Gaines, who's the second safety, or the 4th safety after Vernon Scott, but he's out with an injury right now, so hopefully if he gets back, he might have a chance. I think they might have liked him. They have him on there, so it's interesting to see what the Packers kind of put there. Tyler Goodson is the third running back behind Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. That's interesting to see. B.J. Baylor's on there too, but Patrick Taylor is hurt, but still, it's interesting to see how they have it laid out. Offensive line, they do have Yash, John Runyon Jr., Myers, Jake Hansen, and Royce Newman, like I just talked about, those 5. And then they do have Zach Tom and Sean Ryan as that second-team offensive line, who are both guys that I really like a lot. Cole Schneider's the center, who I think he's shaken up a little bit for the preseason game. They had him on the injury report. And then Micah Manet. These are guys that I heard have been struggling a little bit in camp. So, the fact that they're on the second team, it's just interesting to see where guys get put. Kingsley Enagbare, the JJ Enagbare. I thought Chauncey Manick was gonna, have some say in something going on this year. Chauncey Rivers was here last year, so there's just a lot of moving parts, moving pieces, and since it's an unofficial Packers, I just like to see kind of where they put guys. So, kind of cool. But today was a good day. It really showed us kind of where each guy is at. Doubs has big play potential, but maybe he's not ready just yet to take on that role where he's like the go-to guy. Let's let Lazard come in and be number 1 wide receiver. Let's let him do his thing. Try to get Watkins going a little bit, and let Doubs kind of just be that game breaker here and there, and not force him to come out as quickly as maybe we thought he would. let's just give him some time. I think he's still going to make big plays, but if he is having drop issues, I think maybe the pressure, he's thinking too much that he's got to make these plays. And he's just got to relax and settle down. It is just training camp, but these guys are really coming into the league ready to play, and that's what my favorite thing is just watching how they progress throughout the season and throughout the camp. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Packers play Friday. Can't wait. All right, peace.